is what it is. After 3 days of testing, it's time to change the oil, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it with a dry sump and cutting the filter open. We'll let it get warm. It's about 90 degrees. That's enough. I'm going to turn it off. Oh, all right. Then, because this is a dry sump system, the oil sits here in this can. So that does make it nice and easy to drain when the drain plug is right here. It just misses the frame rail. And the oil filter being over here makes it pretty easy to do. So I'm going to get my pan, glove up, crack that open, and drain some of the oil out. Okay, so this is a big Allen. That's the drain plug in the bottom of the can. Is it a 14 or something like that? And then, yeah, I already broke it loose. Then I try to do this without spilling on myself. Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Okay, now that that's all drained, I wipe this. Of course, the most important part, contact clean. Literally everything. Literally everything. Just the best. Ugh. Cool. We are now underneath the car where I'm going to loosen up the oil filter, and I use a K&N oil filter. So the cool thing about that is that it has a 1-inch nut that you can break loose with a socket. Yeah, makes life much easier when you're trying to break an oil filter, especially in here. Like, I don't have a lot of room, especially with the addition of the intercooler fans and where it's mounted to the sway bar. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let that drain and pull it off. I have my filter and my filter cutter. This is a pretty badass tool for sure. This enables us to see if there's a problem within the engine, right? Because most of the times you have no idea what's going on inside the oil filter. So you just change it and keep running, and then all of a sudden catastrophic failure and you're not sure why. But if we cut the oil filter open, we can see if there's debris in there, possibly from a lifter, maybe it's bearing material, maybe it's ring. I mean, it's hard to tell, but you can tell what, there's definitely a difference between a filter that looks good and an engine that has no problems, and then an engine that does have problems. So I'm gonna do this. Chop the filter top. And let's see. So with the new engine, it is absolutely expected to see some material in there, right? And this is only the second oil filter that's been on this engine. The first one was for startup, couple heat cycles, change the filter immediately, went to the dyno with non-break-in oil after that, and then first 3 test days with it. So this is still a pretty new engine. And we can see in here that you see there's a little piece of red Loctite, probably from the valve cover bolts. It's a little flake of aluminum. That's like completely clean. Maybe a tiny little flake of aluminum there. But what I'm seeing is that it's looking good. Maybe you guys can see, but it's really hard. There's a couple of flakes of aluminum. And again, all that's extremely expected. What's not expected is if this is loaded with material. Then you can even kind of pour out the bottom of this filter and slosh it around and look at the actual oil in the bottom of the filter and see if there's any chunks or anything that's collected in the bottom of it. But from what I can tell, everything looks pretty good. Very important always fill your oil filters with oil. Always. Look at that pour. Look at that pour. Okay, gotta lube that O-ring. Filter is full. Wipe any of the excess off here. Yep, and we're going in. Oh, made a mess. Damn it. So, I'm actually using Lucas Oil 2050 conventional engine oil. Normally I run 2050 synthetic or 550 synthetic, but because it's a brand new engine, I was trying to keep it conventional for at least 2 oil changes before switching over to synthetic. Recommendation on Texas Speed's part, also a little bit of experience with me. I've had it where I put synthetic in right away, and I had just more blow-by than I would have wanted to, or at least the blow-by going into the catch can took longer to go away. Like, eventually it went away, but it took longer to go away, which means that the rings took longer to seat in the actual bore. So, you put conventional in there, it seals right up. I probably don't even need to do it this time, but I'm going to be extra safe, especially because I'm probably do another test session or 2 and then change oil again. So, time to fill the tank. And this system takes like 9.5 quarts, 10 quarts, just under 10 quarts, I believe. I actually have a stick that tells me the level inside this can, just because I learned from experience that if you overfill it, it makes a big giant mess. So this is my dipstick that I put a groove in right here so that when this touches near the bottom of the tank, it'll read my oil level appropriately. Let's see. Boom. Tiny bit high, which is perfect because as soon as it fires up, it'll fill the lines and be good to go. So we are done. Let's fire it up, make sure we got pressure. Oh, made another mess. One of the last things that I'm going to do before we say we're done 100% is crank, build oil pressure, fire it up, make sure it's good, turn it off, then we're done. So I'm going to reach in here, turn my ignition on, then I can look at oil pressure and watch it build. Give the starter a break. And we'll go ahead again. There it goes. Okay.